Bye.
Hey, come back here!
Acknowledged.
Hey, man.
I'm thinking.
This is Starcraft Brood War.
Oh, I was just saying hi. And then I was commenting that the telepathy emoji went over my head. Directly over my face. What's up, Alexander? What's up, Remy Rim? What's up, Luciferius? Enjoy your snow. It's raining here, so inclement weather everywhere. I've got to go to a football game. That's not snow. I don't know if you knew that. Alright. What? So, aside from Turkey Day plans and all that, of course, all those areas changed. Epic. Oh no, maybe only some of them did? This is now 10. For no reason. This is now 9, and this is now 11. All because I deleted one start location. What if we reload the map from before I did that? Can we fix this issue? No, this is I already did too much, apparently. I already changed that at some point. How did that get fucked up? Hello, Iquare. Just gonna be working on some more AI here and apparently repairing shit like this. Where the map just decides to change the resource areas. I don't know if it would be feasible, but it would be really nice to have some option to lock res areas in a certain order. Because this is ridiculous. And you have to go hunting for any res areas that may have changed. Because, like... it's just dumb. What if Brood War had an underground level in an Exego? What if? It would just be filled with Zerg here. Trying to make it metal fatigue or something?
Yes!
No, no.
Yes!
No,
Yes!
no, no,
Yes!
no, no. No. I think not.
Fucking Control Z on that one, buddy.
My sentiments exactly. No, I think I think we're very far away from having the ability to put that together on a technical level, right? I think the biggest issue you would face with that is figuring out a way to properly set it up and show the changes in elevation. Like when you're transitioning between the different height levels, figuring out a way to do so would be important, and figuring out a way to showcase all that stuff on the minimap would be important. So there. But I'm sure it could work. So unfortunately, this is more than just going into the create script section of each script and changing some values. I also have to find the layouts and find all of the things that have changed. For example, this 11 now needs to be this, right? What else do we see? 10 is an create script for this AI, so we don't need to worry about that. But 9, I've got to fix. 9 and 11, of course. And I think that was already 13, so it's not that big of a deal. So now we have to just go to create script here. And the natural is now 11 as opposed to 12. Third. Oh wait, no, this is Sienna. This is... Oh, that was already 10 apparently. Dubious. Anyway. Again. 11. So that was 16? What the fuck is 16 now? 16's over here. Oh no. Apparently I just didn't have one before. That's epic. Well, who knows what the fuck was going on there. All I know is the natural here is 11 from 9. And the third is still 18. Okay. Well, I think it's probably a lot of micromanagement for the player to do, for them to get the stuff that they need, right? But, like, it could work, but I think it would only be useful in situations where you were really starved of resources. Like, the thing is, all of these abilities that we're adding into Hydra, or that you're talking about for your stuff, they're definitely useful in niche scenarios. It's just like, how frequently are those niche scenarios going to make themselves desirable, make an appearance in any of these other locations? So that's the key consideration, I think. So I'm not sure what you think of that in general. But I think that's the biggest concern when talking about stuff like this, is figuring out, like, oh, this is still the old layout, I think. Or maybe not. Maybe this is the updated one. No, this looks updated. But yeah, I think that's the biggest concern. Whenever I'm looking at something like that and trying to piece together how I'm going to find a utility for it, it's usually like, under what circumstances is it useful? Trying to figure that out, and whether or not that shows itself. It doesn't immediately scream to me as being useful. But, I mean, if it ends up being useful all the same, it could be fine. I guess I would have to see it in action. I think maybe instead of that, you could have it so that maybe when they're loaded into the transport, they take money, like they mine it while it's inside them. That way you can benefit from the mineral fields being like acquired. You can take them away from your allies' base, right? You. React you on that.
Acknowledged.
Uh-oh. Why has mixed play forsaken me? Okay, I think we've done our repairs now. So I was in the middle of placing guards for Ultramarine, and then I noticed that this ramp was fucked. I'm glad to see it still is fucked, apparently. I don't remember where it is now. Just missed one detail. I think so, right, Iquare? Because the paladin freezes itself when attacking, or something. Yeah, the paladin cannot be issued any new orders until all 20 of its missiles have been launched. So it launches missiles at ground targets from closer range than it's basically like a siege anti-air unit type thing. And even if the unit moves out of its maximum weapon range, it will, if it acquired the target, it will channel all of the missiles at that unit. But it would be cool to see. I think the Wyvern just needs a turret, right? Yes, it's like the Valkyrie attack, except it doesn't. It locks on. It's accurate. So maybe it doesn't need any plug-in stuff for stuff like that. I don't know how the unit would work in actuality. But I look forward to seeing it in action anyway. Alright. Now our ramp looks a little bit better. So... Got these two clown emojis. These guys are in sync. Exemplar. Yeah, exemplars should be. Well, I think their unit role is going to be a little bit different. I didn't end up changing it, did I? Yeah, defensive matrix might be... might have yet to be increased or upgraded or whatever. Hydra-ified. If you go to the extended command guide, you'll see Notepad++ highlighter in the introduction. So that's RSEXTAI with hyphens between it. And if you're just getting into it now, I would recommend... You can try to emulate stuff that I've done, but I would also recommend taking a look at stuff like the old Blizzard scripts for their missions, just to see how they made AI that admittedly was not very functional, but, well, it functioned, it wasn't very aggressive, right? So you can at least... You don't have to start by multi-running everything in existence like I do. I forget what this... I think I actually had an upgrade in here. And it wasn't... Maybe it was gravitic attenuators. But I thought that was a speed boost or something. Oh, gravitic attenuators were supposed to enable them to attack while moving. Nobody will get that reference, I bet. Not a single person. I don't think any of the lists are complete besides the weapons, but I can check. So many of these upgrades might actually be worth 150 of each resource. But hard to know. Resources are more plentiful, yeah. I'm not. That's one of the other reasons why I'm not really worried about the costs of things. meant to send those to Ike. We're not in the fucking special list. God damn it. Okay. All right, so I think we've settled that anyway. Now back to our AI. Did you have any, oh yeah, well, there is one. I will check the upgrades, or the relics. But did you have any luck, Iquire, with the setup for the worker unit ignoring pathing thing? Yeah, there's 10 weapons. Only 5 armors, so we need 5 more. And there's 10 augments, so I guess we need 10 more of those. So 15 more. We're more than halfway done with the relic list. Oh, we haven't worked on that yet. Okay. Gotcha. Hopefully it won't be too difficult to actually get that sort of thing running, but I don't know what it looks like. You were saying that it might be difficult to remove the flag at the correct moments. Oh, okay. Yeah, it looks like you're getting a lot of work done on that, on the config, so that's going to be really useful. So for those of you guys who don't know, Iquare is working on a config file that will basically selectively enable, depending on what you put in the config, certain functions from different plugins and different mods. Really, they're all going to be stored in the same plugin, just not necessarily activated. So, if you, for example, wanted some upgrade behavior from, Iquare's Kalmorian campaign, and you also wanted the escalation system and the resource regeneration from Hydra, and maybe you wanted something from another one of our projects or somebody else's stuff that gets added to the config, you could just comment or uncomment in the config file what you want and don't want, and it would take into effect when you get to the point where you're playing your project. So if you quickly want to just snap in stuff like extended mega tiles, the unit limits being extended, and stuff like that when we get some of the other stuff, the engine extensions actually done, eventually you'll just be able to, with a single line of code, comment or uncomment the behavior, and it'll be fine. It'll be there. I could see something like that for an augment. I was also thinking of some sort of armor that actually reflects not just projectiles. It would reflect spells in some way. I guess it could be something similar to what Duran has, where Duran gets like the last cast spell on his command card or whatever. I'm not really sure how to best use that or best show that. But I was thinking maybe you could choose the maybe it could be something like after you get hit with a spell, that spell gets added to your armor, and the next target of the hero, like the next time that your hero attacks somebody, they cast that spell on the enemy. Something like that could be interesting. Or maybe this would be better as an augment, now that I think about it. Some sort of, well, I'm not sure. Anyway, I think if we still show equipment in some way when, I don't know what the fuck this is. If we still show equipment in some way over the unit when you select it or something with those icons that I made a mock-up of a long time ago, we could just do that, potentially. Theoretically. To show that they have a certain set of abilities or whatever. But I guess we'll worry about the information control later, since it's going to be a while before we actually have all of this stuff done. Trying to see if I should give them a stat boost because of this armor or not. That's why I was thinking maybe it makes more sense as a relic. I mean, a augment. How do you mean, Iquare? Oh, I should post some of those at some point. Let me check pinned messages. I'm gonna pin a mega archive with all of the AI that I've ever done and all of the AI. It also includes Blizzard's AI, but they're just in the scripts bins that you can see yourself. So that's in Newbor. Oh, I see. Yes, it should. I think that's a good default behavior to have. Well, I think honestly, considering how impactful abilities can be, this could be really really good. That Thaumaturge one could be really nice. So. Take it. I look forward to when DF ends up throwing in the Shaman graphic. I don't have any expectations of when that will be time-wise, but it'll be really nice, I think, when it's up. Okay, we get it. You know how to do that. Thank you for destroying my eardrums. many zealots are we missing anyway? We need 4 more zealot requests. So I'll say we build start one citadel. So once I'm done with this, I can move on to working with Zasz. Even though I have to audit this AI and Sienna, I would rather just work on Zasz right this moment. Nice. Nice and easy. So now we just have to do the robo stuff. So if they do end up going robo, they should be requesting Reavers at certain locations, in my opinion. So we're just going to do that. And this should help them in general. Also, Ultramarine's the only AI that can get tier 3 upgrades, if given enough time. I think that's okay right now because of the fact that they are alone. They're all by them. They're lonesome. So, jury's still out on whether or not that's actually okay. In practice, it may feel really, really scummy to deal with. They can only get tier 3 ground, they can't get tier 3 air, but that's little consolation when you consider like Zealots and Dragoons and stuff are really, really powerful at max upgrades compared to pretty much anything Zerg has. And I've also been struggling with, like, I want to increase the overall tech level as that's why I've been enabling like carriers and nukes. But as a Zerg player in this map, you have access to Zergling, Hydra, Vorvaling, Basilisk, Mutalisk, Scourge, Queen, and you don't have too many tools. I mean, I guess technically Infested Terran as well if you grab some of those. You just don't really have that many tools in general to deal with the enemy's tech. Maybe that's still okay. Maybe you can still make it happen with enough push and pull, but I do think that maybe there could be some more tech enabled for you. I just don't know what would be required. I did decide that I'm probably going to modify the requirement for the corrosive dispersion. To just require lair. Because that to me makes sense. That's the upgrade that gives them +2 range when on creep. That's not too broken an ability, and most of the time it'll be used in a defensive manner in general. So I figured that enabling something like that makes sense. But in the context of like what the Protoss have in their disposal, in the context of what the Terrans have in their disposal, in the Terran case it's a bit more fair. And Ultramarine really only has this tech because they had it in the previous time you saw them in the final Terran mission, as well as in the penultimate Terran mission. They had all this stuff. They still don't have Arbiters, and they have a much lower number of Scouts, Carriers, Reavers than they had in those maps. But the fact that they have them at all mandates a certain level of tech on the opponent's side in order to properly set shit up. I definitely think we can unlock Chasmal Colonies in the next mission. I was also thinking maybe the key to allowing more player choice would be to unlocking Aberrants in this mission. But I don't know what that would look like, and we obviously are very far from having Aberrants unlocked in general. Like, we don't have it. We just don't have them, right? They're not there. So. But, yeah. I've noticed sometimes units don't move to the exact coordinates that I tell them to in this. I'm not quite sure why that would be. But at the end of the day, it's probably not too big of a deal. Hopefully fixing morphs and hangar units, moving to guard positions will be done soon. It's one of those things where it's like, there's so many minor things fucked with the, with Brood War AI that it's easy to just get lost in a sea of fuck in those terms. Good. They don't have air units. They're going to build gateways here, so I want to build a couple of Dragoons over in this area, maybe. Well, maybe not right there, because... I was actually thinking about something that would summon, you know, units in some way. That could definitely work. I don't know if I wanted to... I wouldn't want it to be an active ability, but I don't really want it to be, like, units slain either. Maybe it could be a behavior that you can activate prematurely. Like, basically by default, they would store up to like 4 or 5 hallucinations, and then they would all appear around the hero at once. When you reach the cap, it would immediately cast. And the hallucinations would be stored of units that it had killed. Maybe you could make it so that workers weren't included, or maybe that would just be something that would happen, right? But you could cast the ability prematurely. You could activate it manually if you just needed 1 or 2 or something below the cap. Something like that could work. Would it make sense to have them all be eligible? I might completely change this up and make it so that all heroes can have all of the relics instead of it being restricted to classes or something. But that will certainly create some more edge cases with the other units, like mechanical units attacking. Like, I could imagine like the Phoenix Dragoon or something getting the attack speed buff relic weapon. And just fucking destroying entire fleets or something while you're not looking. Just like drop them in your supply area and just annihilates every single supply depot you own. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Allied pylons should provide anything that you get from your own unit that's like that. Shield batteries, pylons. Like you can build in your allies' creep, just like you can build on your enemy's creep, but you know, I think it would make sense to be able to build in your allies' power fields and load in your allies' transports and bunkers and stuff like that, like we were talking about some time ago. was thinking of like Grave Walkers or Grave Robber or something for this one. But it's an action verb name, so kind of dumb. Yeah, I think in the case of the spawning pool, it's already pretty expensive with 200 minerals. I don't know if I would make it worth. But I could definitely see an argument. Like, the thing is for the units.dat extender, and once we have all the data extenders done, like the biggest boon for me is going to be able to make a bunch of customizations per faction, right? And other stuff as well, like, you know, you mentioned Saga of the Zitsun last stream. Like, being able to make it so that the frauds and the Zitsun and the whoever else, like the Kenyans, any of these factions, exist alongside the existing default units would be really, really nice. Being able to just say, yes, all of the default units and assets are still there, and I also have all these other things. That way I can have, like, a Protoss AI fight my fraud AI with, in the, you know, it's not just a fraud reskin, or a Protoss reskin rather. It's not replacing those units in the entry list. Right, yeah. Well, the thing that distinguishes the conversions, the warps for Protoss, is that they upgrade their production specifically. They don't upgrade like tech structures. Now Zerg kind of upgrade production with hatchery into lair and lair into hive, but that's also their tech. That's like their tech level, as well as of course upgrading Hydros Den into Basilisk Den or Lurker Den, upgrading the that sort of thing. Oh, like being able to warp the, convert back to the base structure. I guess I could see an argument for that, yeah. The reason why I made it the way that I made it was because at first I figured people are going to be spending this money, and it doesn't necessarily follow that they would want to spend it to unconvert. If they, to go back to it or whatever, but I guess I could see an argument to, warp back to Gateway instead of, keeping it at a Principality or something. Or warp directly to the other one if they wanted to. Like, instead of having to warp back to Gateway in order to warp to, Warp Anchor, you could just warp a Principality into a Warp Anchor. So you could do either or. No, there's no upgrades for just Warvelings right now. I was thinking about something to make them a little bit better in the late game. But I actually think that 60 base HP and 1 base armor, they're pretty fucking tanky compared to normal Zerglings. They don't benefit from adrenal glands, so they're not really DPS. But you can get them ahead and corral enemies, route enemies that way. And especially onto siege tanks and stuff, your DPS doesn't matter too much. The fact that you close the distance so quickly does. So now you've got to guard your siege tanks as the Terran player with something like a Firebat or a bunch of Cyprians or, just Marines or Goliaths or something. Something that it would be okay against them. I feel like they're tanky enough. I don't know that they necessarily need any more tweaks or any more upgrades to be a balanced contender. I feel like actually if they get any more utility or power, they might be broken. They might be way more aggressive. But maybe something to separate out the adrenal surge from metabolic boost. I think that would probably be better. So metabolic boost would no longer... it would improve the Vorveling base movement speed by the current amount that it does, just like leg enhancements improves Zealots and Legionnaires to different extents. Metabolic boost would do that, but adrenal surge would require a specific upgrade, and maybe that upgrade requires Lair or requires Evolution Chamber, because they are pretty powerful by default right now. So moving that upgrade back a little bit would be nice. Because they're pretty difficult to actually get away from most of the time. So I might separate that out, actually. Makes sense to me, anyway. Well, there's the new ways that they work, but other than the base changes to their abilities or whatever, no, actually. I might look into some more work for the carrier, but it feels like a pretty strong unit. I guess something to, maybe an upgrade to make it so that they produce interceptors faster would be something useful. So they can reinforce quicker in the heat of battle. But, like if they get annihilated by Marines or Hydras or something, that Goliaths, that absolutely destroys their interceptors, they can reinforce faster, but again, it's a money sink, so I think that would be a fine upgrade for them. Was also thinking of something else to do for Dark Archons, but they already have a lot of specialization available to them. Though, to be honest, High Templar do too, with Ascendancy and Ephemeral Blades. 2 extra upgrades on top of researching Psionic Storm and researching Hallucination. What do you guys think about taking the Hallucination... Okay, we're back to more electronic stuff. What do you guys think of making Hallucination researched by default? So it's like a... it's a more niche spell. I think having it available by default would might potentially benefit stuff. Might potentially benefit the unit and make Ephemeral Blades a little bit more attractive because you don't have to sink 100 minerals, 100 gas, or whatever the cost of Hallucination is, and occupy your Templar Archives for however long it takes. As far as the warp relay, I haven't really decided yet. I was kind of thinking of something, a more stripped down and basic version of like the Disruptor or the Mothership Core or something from Starcraft 2 I don't really like that it spins or whatever, but some sort of orb that shields a Kadarin core, similar to what the Arbiters canonically have, would be useful, because the idea is that it's, you know, being acted as a warp anchor in this case. Which reminds me, I should probably change the name of the Hierophant structure at some point. But it's acting as a warp anchor, a warp point, and you know, true to its name, the warp relay. I think that would make some sense to put together. Hey, what's up, Connor? So something like that might make sense to implement in some way, shape, or form. So far, so good. I got the guards, or some of the guards, done for Ultramarine. I'm gonna move on to working on Zasz pretty soon. Just adding some changes to the new game state doc. Yeah, well, I just think reducing the barrier of entry to getting ephemeral blades makes sense to me, and we can just see how it plays out. And if, you know, obviously I can just redo the change at some point if I find it's too powerful or something. Ephemeral blades by itself is already, I think, 200. I don't know if I changed that in the Protoss, or in the Stormborn commit, but I think that would make sense anyway, for it to be that pricey, but to also reduce the overall investment required to make use of it. That 10% number might be too small, but until I see them in action, I don't want it to be... Like, it's technically, like, it's 10%, but 4 times. And depending on the unit that you get, you could be getting a lot. So, or up to 4 times, I should say. Because you might throw it down with just 1 or 2, but... Oh, yeah, making it so that that Dark Templar changes in would be nice as well. So, just placing a bunch of scout guards. Did I really only place 3 for the main? Or am I blind? That's why I'm doing the earlier stream, yeah, because I'm out with family. I'm actually going to be going in like under an hour, so we're not going to get too much work done. I don't even know if we're going to hit 2 hours today. Oh yeah, we will. Or close to it, but it's going to be a very, very short one. But I didn't want to break my streak, and I still had some stuff to do, and I still think it will be a productive time. Already has been. So here I am. That's a total of 6 scout guards and 2 carrier guards for the main. And then we can come on down to what's the map? Yeah, I'm glad too, man. It's taken a while for me to get to this point, but I'm pretty happy that I've been able to do this much in this amount of time. But what about you, man? Are you still working hard on the channel and all that? I don't know if I haven't seen you stream in a while, but it might have just been me missing it. You know, with the difference in time zones, it wouldn't surprise me. Goon, Zealot, and I think that's it. Nice. Yeah, you got fed up with ladder or something? I remember you saying something to that effect. A couple weeks back when Veek was asking you about it. I really gotta go get a new keyboard at some point. Oh, like it heals for a percentage of damage taken in the last while. I guess the problem with something like that is it does require a fair bit of micro, but you do get a good benefit from it. Like, it requires you to push a button at the right time, basically. I'm not sure about that one. You'll be rusty when you decide to get back into it. Could try with iCup, but I don't know if the experience is much better. And it might be dead too. It might be completely dead. I haven't looked into it at all. Alright, so he's done the guards. Nice. Just gotta mark down the upgrades here. It looks like we actually still have 10 more to go for the augments. Maybe I missed one, but only 4 more for the armors. So 14 more relics to go before we're done. Jesus Christ. I should pop through here and fix some shit. Shit. Forget all of them. Oh, actually, I just realized I had it was called Psionic Eclipse. That was the upgrade. We'll call it Kadarin Eclipse instead. And actually, we can even use the same requirements here. Calling it Psi mode instead of Siege mode. I mean, I might as well have called it Siege mode. Fucking what a prank that is. Alright, well I added Skyforge for the carrier, so we have that. Yeah, Marine D. Yeah, Iquare, I actually thought a while ago that maybe the science facility should be able to attach both of its add-ons to the same structure, just one on either side, but I don't know how that'll work out. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. It's, the lag is crazy. Yeah, I figured that that's probably what would happen. I think that add-ons will eventually be more flexible and significantly more different, but for now, we're gonna stick with overall shit. Like the default stuff. For the time being, anyway. We'll see where we go from there after. Alright, so I was in the middle of writing the main town thread. He doesn't have his worker loop. Let's fix that. Definitely take P need and get it out of here and bring it down below the workers. I see I already started messing around with this. Oh, you. Look at all this shit. All this shit I gotta sift through. Huh. Ha! Alright, let's pull the create scripts back up here. Where are we? Okay. Reordered, recalibrated, re-engaged. This guy's laughing at me. It's very mean, to be honest. Oh wait, I totally underestimated how much time I actually have. I'm getting picked up in like an hour. So I actually have more time than I thought. Nice. Epic. Ah. So we might not get to 3 hours. Because 3. But we'll get somewhere. See if my email wants to load this time. Hey, it worked. Impressive. Most of the time it fails. Or at least yesterday, every single time I was trying to use it, it failed. Uh-oh. Ah! Okay, I fixed it. Sorry. Thought I was getting annihilated. Oh, I can't believe Faguro got end. What a man. The poor lad. Oh. Just now realized that was busted. Fix that up. Huh? Now, I'll expand this ramp. Ah! Go over there. Huh. What a disaster. Huh. Okay. Fix that up. Now, let us continue. Okay, so Marine D. I need to make some headway with this map. Already done the base layout, so let's do the actual build thread. How do I want him to handle this? Alright, so he starts off in the extractor. You can just do wait, build, start one extractor. Build one. I should have mapped out what I actually ended up doing for this. There's not too many of them. So I think it was... Well, it's obviously this. I think it was that, and then that. And then that. Anyway, that's the order I'll put them in now. So that one would be first. 2688. I think my idea was I'm going to make them take, you know, the first two fairly quickly anyway. Okay. Okay. That is the right order. Oh. There we go. Ah, shit. Pranked myself. Oh, there's one there. An even more epic prank, of course. Oh no. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Say build 5. Okay. What's up, Raw Flesh? Yes, I am still making Hydra early this morning because I have some plans with family. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well. I'm definitely going to be busy today, so I wanted to get some work over here. But I hope you have a good time with your family or whatever, whoever you're gonna go celebrate with. Hope you eat a lot of good food. Yeah, I'm gonna be doing the same thing, I think. We'll have to see. Terrain affecting relics. I have not thought about that. That'll probably be something like, yeah, something in Brood War when we're... Like, I was thinking about this yesterday, actually. So for the same reason that Hydra 1.0 for Remastered was such a Frankenstein mess, I think that same reason is going to happen here too, where this project, this vanilla stuff, is going to be kind of rough around the edges or maybe a little inconsistent or something like that. I'm going to try to make it as consistent as possible. But the fact is, we're getting new tools and expanding the limits and improving the engine. And as we're doing that, we're coming up with various ways to... we're just trying to learn how to use these tools, and we're updating our techniques as we're getting more possibilities for our side. So, for me, it's more that the relics and the terrain deformation and all this other stuff that we may get access to. I don't know how to utilize that in the best way because I have to experiment with it. And I don't have a really good canvas to experiment with it besides Hydra. So Hydra is going to be the result of a lot of experimentation, odds are. So we're probably going to see some interesting design decisions as a result of that, I think. Just a hunch I have. That could be interesting. It's sort of like a relay for your hero or something. I'm still not sure how the warp relay is going to work either, though. I think the finalized idea for the exemplar makes more sense to me, so I would give the go-ahead on that unit as an idea. Like, I feel like it'll be pretty... I don't think its final version will be a different unit as far as the technical implementation of it is considered. But... we will see. These are okay to find maxes. Probably raise the mute accounts. That's about it. Hello, Dreckmeister. Welcome. All right. I see. I must have been having difficulty getting Zasz to upgrade in one of the later builds because all his upgrade priorities are maxed through the roof. Should be good. You like the tile set? It's not too different. I mean, this is the jungle tile set. We've managed to add in, grass and asphalt and high asphalt structure on that stuff. And eventually, it's not even remotely close to being done yet, but eventually I'm going to take the grass and merge it with the dirt cliff, and we're going to have basically a whole thing where we can surround this whole area in grass, envelop this whole area in grass. I kind of want to do the same thing over here. Just have pockets of dirt and pockets of mud blended with grass and stuff like that. I'm going to make instead of raised jungle, we're going to have raised grass, stuff like that. I have to take the time to make in Photoshop. Probably make a couple of different ramp variants because we're kind of running dry on those. I keep reusing similar ramps over and over again instead of having more custom ones to work with. And of course, you've got stacked high dirt and stuff, but I would like to change the color of high dirt, the higher dirt, the tier 3 level, so that you would always know what level of terrain you're on just looking at it. That will help, I think. Yeah, I know, right? Well, the thing is, I've gotten so accustomed to making my AI use these extended upgrades and extended commands rather, that I don't know how I would possibly ever construct an AI script. Like if I go into my archive, my archons, and I go and find like
Archon!
There you go. Like I go and find no, that's not it.
Archon!
Where is it? Where's Inconstant in here? Oh, here it is. Shit like this. Where all it is just... Wait, maybe this is new stuff. No? I only see builds and no, I do see some multi-runs. This is not quite the old shit, but... As you can see, there's no custom commands or anything. It's just... I don't know how I was going to make that happen back then. I don't think there were destructible bridges in Command & Conquer 2. Not ramps, though. You could blow up... there's like rocks that you could blow up that would make new ramps. So similar to Dustin Browder's famous destructible cocks. I think that was about it, though. Alright. There we go. That'll be a bit more reasonable, I think. So it was more like constructible ramps, where you would create them by destroying them. That was about it, I think. Okay. So eventually we'll keep tweaking stuff like that as time goes on. I think the upgrades are probably fine in terms of the order and the swiftness. I'm not adding any new units to Zasz, so... Oh yeah, I should probably do... I should probably check off what I've done here. Well, I guess... Never mind. I already did. I preemptively checked off guards. What I really want to do is have not only like that weapons platform that we had the idea for, Iquir, but I also want to have shit like Terran ramps being able to lift off and land. It'll probably be called like something really dumb, like tactical platform, or something cheesy like that. But I think that would be really nice to have something like that. Well, the issue was that he used it as a crutch in the multiplayer map design. That was more so the problem. That's why I chastised him about it. Like, obviously, it's kind of basic, but it could work fine if, you know, were it not for its use and abuse, as you've no doubt seen. Let me turn units off here. I'm trying to see. Ugly amount of the same tile being displayed. So I think I'm just gonna have to close that one out. Yeah. I think mine was probably similar in terms of all that stuff. I couldn't tell you from memory exactly what my first modded unit was, but it was probably silly. Should still be able to build there. We all started somewhere. I didn't do anything fancy. I think my first modded unit was like a fire bat that shot acid or something. It was an acid trooper. And I didn't know how to remove the flame, but I gave it like a venom attack, like the iScript or the graphic rather was like a venom or something like that. I didn't know how to remove the fire though, because I had never messed with iScript before. So when it attacked with the flames, it also had the green graphic of the whatever I had given it, glaive worm or whatever. And I thought, I was like, oh, that's cool. It's like shooting flaming acid for some reason. I don't know why the acid would be on fire, but napalm acid. No. Thought that worked out. Fairly inoffensive. Is Infected Mushroom gonna get me blocked worldwide on YouTube? Is that how that works? Check if song gets me blocked on YouTube. Just to be safe, we'll go to something else. Rather not just have the video get taken down. Oh, after I'm done with Zasz, I've got to do Redwood and Cordovan. Cordovan is formerly just a human player. Now, potentially, will be controlled by an AI if the human player decides to play as the this guy, Redwood. So, that will dictate... excuse me. That will dictate what ends up happening. But, I don't really need those. If there's two-player co-op, like if there's two human players who want to play this before those AI scripts are done, they will technically be able to after Zasz is finished. But I would like to get into a situation where I'm able to test the Zerg AIs against everybody else and see how much variance there is and all that stuff. So, since we have the ability to convert empty human slots into computer players now, thanks to iQueer's work, I'm using that to the full extent of like what's possible. I'm doing a lot with that, so you'll see all sorts of weird stuff happen. That way you can have any number of any number of players you want, in theory. If you want them to be replaced with computers. Like, I remember I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with one of these missions. If I go find the Hydra AI file. There's a couple of missions I didn't know what I wanted to do, right? So, for example, in NORAD 2, I wanted there to be a lot of players. As you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's 7 AIs that I want to put into the map, and I have only 8 player slots, and 2 of them are for humans. Then we have one that's odd one out. I didn't know how I was going to do that. Now I don't have to worry about that because both of the human slots can be players, right? They can be human players or they can be computers. So I don't have to worry about that. In that case, the ally, in this particular case, Kerrigan, will be... in fact, I should probably fill that in here. It's Kerrigan. So... George is gonna be a cool guy, man. That's another one that I can fit in more as time goes on. So, but yeah, with NORAD 2, I wanted there to be some Confederate presence on the map, trying to recover Duke. And if they were, like, if they managed to get there before you did, then maybe he would ally with them instead of being an ally with you. And then you would have, it would transition into TVT, and you'd have to destroy the Confederate reinforcements in order to make him desperate enough to become your ally. You know what I mean? So stuff like that may end up happening. I think that'll be a good one. And then, of course, in Full Circle, I had the idea that the Overmind would pop into the map partway through and actually be there as an ally halfway through the map, and then you'd have to deal with Aldaris, and Aldaris would arrive halfway through the map as well. They'd probably end up arriving roughly at the same time, but Aldaris would have a different timer for his arrival. I didn't really know how I was going to do that, though, because, again, I was already at the cap of what was feasible. So, like, I wanted a Temple Guard player, and, you know, as well as the other players that you see here. And I didn't know what was going to be good for that and what wasn't. So you would have, like, the Artanis, the Executor, and then the Temple Guards, and then the Temple Guards were supposed to be converted to Aldaris at some point because of the player limitation. Now we don't have to worry about that. We can just have the 4 Protoss players in towards the end. There was Searcher Brood in NORAD 2? I don't... If Kag was there, he would just destroy them all with Ultralisks, so no, I don't think so. I think it's just gonna be Gorn again, but we will see.
Bye.
Yeah, well, Gorn will destroy you with Ultralisks instead. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Okay. Whew. That's 32 EXP. How did I do this for Ultramarine? Oh, I did do. Michaels is the Raiders lieutenant in the area that you face off against in the early game. He's mostly there to serve as additional, he's a buffer for Goska as far as their characterization is concerned. He's sort of like a foil in a sense, but he assists in Goska's characterization and development from a writing perspective. But his personality is a little bit more organized than what you'll see from Raynor and Hydra by comparison, where Raynor likes to do all these raids and stuff, and he's kind of eclectic. He likes to cover the map and shit, and he likes to just be annoying. And Death by a Thousand Cuts style approach, where you're doing a lot of drops and doing that stuff. Now, Michaels does similar Raiders tactics, because that's what the Raiders are used to, and that's what the Raiders are good at, but he tries to organize them into larger groups, and maybe if you were to look at his army composition, you would see more mech units in the mid to late game than what Raynor normally provides. So he'll be showing off more, mechanical units, siding with shamans more than siding with medics in the mid to late game as well. Stuff like that. So that's like a crash course. Anyway. That's funny. Hey. You know what normally creates pop-ups everywhere on your computer without your consent? Normally that's something we like to call malware. Or perhaps a virus. I haven't tested shamans with AI. Well, yeah, the old version of Inconsummate, we're not talking about that. We're talking about the new stuff. That's where you're going to see, like, the remake, basically, is going to have stuff like that. Natural, we've got three. How many colonies are we looking at? 4, 7, 11. Yes, my favorite line from the entire campaign. Glad you remembered it. I would say exponentially, yes. It's probably even more than twice, to be honest. There's so many things that when I did it back then, it was just very amateurish, and I didn't really know what I was doing. So I look forward to showing my chops, showing my growth, how far I've come since then. Wish I could have comments in some of this stuff. What's up, Vinner? Yeah, they're not going to start out with those upgrades. I don't think so. Hopefully by then we figure out if there's an easy way to make AI research upgrades that are beyond a certain amount of like a certain threshold or whatever. There's not that much water in this area, to be honest. Looking for a particular tile blend. Yeah, good idea. Make it even more ridiculous. Yeah, whatever upgrades they are going to get, they're going to research by themselves in their on their own time, you know. So easy to get lost when we're working with this shit. Let's see. Well, I answered them when I got back, but you were probably gone by that point. I was just letting you know I had no idea. You were asking about like a timer and taking stuff from the console or chat. I don't listen, man. That's the technical shit I've never once in my life even thought about, let alone actually done work with. So I'm the wrong person to ask about that. Now, hopefully, somebody like iQuare might know a bit more information about that. But like copying stuff from what's it called? The copying stuff from the log is not something, or from like chat or logging chat. That's not something that I'm aware of. I think Battle.net does that by default, or used to. But other than that, I've never even messed around with it, to be honest. So I'm probably not going to be of much help in that regard. I wouldn't even know where to begin to try. Yeah, Raw Flesh, that's true as well. The point was to make you think maybe you're going to be playing as Terrence. The Zerg console gave it away in the end, though. He might be here. Sometimes his net cuts out. Let's see. Otherwise, you could ask those questions to Nave. He's on started.net. N-E-I-V. And he's the guy who made some Ace and stuff. He would know where to at least point you to and point you in the right direction. Yeah, no kidding. Oh, there we go. Trying to fix my posture. It's not as easy as it might seem. Easy, dude. Three, 406, 79. Yes, the Nerazim will use some custom tech, but they're mostly going to be behind the scenes anyway. It's probably just going to be limited to like Hydra changes to the Corsair, the Dark Templar, the Dark Archon, but you'll see them mostly be mind controlling, like with Dark Archons, they'll be mind controlling some of the Kali forces and like trying to interfere with the battlefield, basically. Okay, that's done. Z4, I haven't even really looked at it yet. It is an island by default, which is pretty bad. I think I'll probably link it up with what's currently the southern part of the map, and I'm going to expand it massively so that there's a whole area to the left. There's probably going to be 2 separate sets of islands, or at least sections of terrain. I don't know if I'll link it with Bridge. The leftmost one will be where your ally arrives, because Dagoth, I think, is going to arrive to reinforce you in that map, but it might be Zasz. Let me take a look. I don't really remember what I wrote down. Yeah, Dagoth shows up. And Duke shows up on the far left, I think, but he might show up in like the top left area. Raiders are going to be top right. Magistrate's going to be bottom right-ish. And so maybe I'll make it so that Dagoth pops in the bottom left side. I haven't really decided yet, but I'm probably going to link the central island. For one, make it bigger, and for another, link it to a couple of the other outerlying island-type areas, which will have expansions, but also be used as staging grounds for attacks. And you might even see like a nice clash between the styles, where Duke is going to try to lock these areas down and build missile turrets and some bunkers and a barracks or a factory or something there, whereas Raynor and the Magistrate are just going to be like dropping on you and dropping on Duke, and they're not really going to give a fuck about like locking the areas down as much as they just want to use them to harass you. So that's one of the ways that you're going to see them behave differently. Intentions of the Nerazim besides destroying the Conclave. That's a story spoiler. I can't get into that. I think in the 4th mission, I mean, you're gonna have Nidus Canals probably from the 2nd map, but the 4th map will probably be when I introduce Greater Nidus Canals. So you'll definitely be able to, you know, use those to your advantage as well, and you'll probably see Dagoth using those, and you'll be able to use your allies' Niduses as a default behavior. So that should be fine, I think. Oh yeah, did I want to put a lair down there? I don't think so. I did want a lair in the natural though. Good one. Build 60. That's supposed to be weight. I was spinning too hard. What force is this anyway? So Zasz isn't quite done yet, but... Hi, Tricks. Oh, what's up, dude? Oh, well, hopefully that works out for you, Ichabod. I'm not using the logger mostly just because I try to generate my AI sort of procedurally, and I make a lot of fine-tuned tweaks as time goes on, so the logger, unfortunately, didn't end up being particularly useful. I would have the coordinates, but I'd have to plug in the priorities manually, and on top of that, I would also have the issue of needing to make sure that everything aligned in the proper order of the script, like of the unit index. A tool to compile... Well, basically the mapping tool will have to replace that, like what Iquare was talking about with the mapping tool. Allowing you to show base layouts as another layer and directly put the order of certain production structures, like... So you could draw the lines that I'm drawing in these snipping tools to like show what order creep colonies or pylons or anything like that is. You'd basically have that same thing happen where they would be numerically assigned. Like you'd have a barracks somewhere, I would say barracks 1, and then there'd be a barracks 5 and so on. What's up, Dubious Fern? Welcome. Right, yeah, we won't even need the logger once we have that. So looking forward to that, but until then, this is how I do it. Oh yes, I have to clean this up. What the fuck? Right, yeah. Eventually those will be resolved just by default. No, I think it'll all work out. I'm not really that worried about the time of things. But I know that you were hoping to have a certain amount of stuff done by default. What's the term? Like, you wanted a certain amount of stuff done for your project, and obviously stuff like that's been heavily delayed over time. Yeah, I mean, being able to crowdsource some of that stuff would be nice. There's a 28th. Yeah, PyTile and PyAI have a lot of built-in limitations that it would be really nice if we could fix that. And yeah, it's made in Python. It's just stuff that we ideally wouldn't have to, you know, deal with, obviously. Oh, I thought that was like a truck beeping outside. Honking. Oh, nice. What were the issues? Do you have like a changelog or anything? Oh. Dummy. There we go. Trying to log into places. Not working out too well. Oh, okay, Alexander. Cool. Glad you've decided to go through with the campaign idea anyway. All right. Well, like I was talking about earlier, there's going to be a config file that will patch in extended upgrades and other such things from Hydra, so you can selectively enable and disable certain features that you want. I don't know when it'll be ready, but that might be something that you look forward to. Otherwise, we can always just share the code that we use for that, and you can replace some of the Brood War upgrades or unused upgrades without needing extended upgrades or anything like that. So I have to head on out. I'm going to get picked up by my mother, and we're going to go hang. So I appreciate you guys hanging with me, and we're having a good Thanksgiving so far. Managed to get a fair bit of progress done on Zasz. Just got to do his attacks now. Yeah, I think. Oh, I've got to do his bridge post base layouts. But his attacks, his attack targets, his staging here, and his guards are all that remains. So I'll try to get some of that done tonight, but no promises. Might be in a food coma. And otherwise, I'll be back tomorrow morning for some more. So thanks very much for your continued support. Mwah.
Hurry it up! Hurry it up! Hello!